Hey, what's up, everybody? I just got to get the feed up on my phone to make sure everything's working properly. Happy Tuesday. It is dark, like thunderstorm is rolling through. So you may hear thunder in the background. The power might go, who knows, right? So I just figured I would make you guys aware of the fact that it's really stormy outside. Hold on, I'm just finding it in my feed. There we are. Bring it up, turn. Okay, perfect. Here's a question for you. Who loves thunderstorms? I know my friend Krista is afraid of them. But I love thunderstorms. And we have a good porch. I'm going to have to see how the rain is hitting it. Because when thunderstorms come, I just love to be able to sit on the porch and to hear the rain, feel the cool and the breeze and the smell, and hear the thunder. It's just super therapeutic for me, and I'm just like, oh. And then I love when lightning strikes, and especially when it's kind of close, and it's got that, that type of thing to it. But yeah, today we are going to talk about using stories to sell real estate, to sell homes, to sell communities and property and things like that. And how when you do that right, it will sell things faster. It will drive the value up and all those kinds of things. So are you guys excited for this? Again, like whether you're into real estate or not, you can see the principles and you can apply them. So let's begin. Howdy ho, friends. I hope you're having an amazing day. I was thinking about this topic. I was thinking about last night when it kind of came to my mind. And so I'm like, I've never really took much of a deep dive into it. And so I was like writing down some thoughts, doing some searching and some research to see if I could find things that kind of, supported what I said. And then I was looking for examples that's why I was a little bit late starting this, because I was trying to find examples. And people are not doing this, and I don't understand why. Well, I understand why it's because they're lazy, but it's incredible. And I did find a good example to show you guys here in a little bit. But first, I just want to talk about, we are covering again today real estate, selling property, how to make more money and use stories to get yourself more listings, to sell things quicker, to get the value to go up, all this kind of stuff. And so that is what the focus of today's live is going to be. Now, how many of you, by show of hands, are realtors or work in real estate? I'm not talking about like coaching real estate agents, but like you're actively selling homes and properties. Give me a comment, like what area you are selling homes in and selling properties in. I just want to see where you guys are at. For the rest of us who don't sell real estate and who are not realtors, how many of us have had an experience with a real estate agent? I have. How many of us have had experiences with real estate agents that are just kind of, what's a nice way to put this? Skeezy. They just put you off because they just are, I don't know how to put it, but like we've all dealt with great realtors, real estate agents. You might be one, you might be related to one. We've also dealt with the guys and gals who are not good at selling, or they don't care, or they're so pushy that it rubs us the wrong way, and all that kind of stuff. So this is to help The people who are good become better and better serve the people that they're wanting to help, and the homes that they're wanting to sell and the communities they're trying to build. This also can help those people who are not very good and don't care to see that if they do, the rewards that can come, right? So, as we've been talking about, storytelling is useful in every type of business, in every facet of the business, whether it's generating leads or trying to sell something or building connections with the audience or whatever it might be. Storytelling is used all throughout it. And if you're not using it, you need to be. You won't be in business for very much longer if you're not telling stories. Now, you don't have to tell your whole life story or everything about yourself every time you tell a story. You don't have to tell the same story over and over and over and over to every single person that you meet either. You customize the message for the audience. Now, when it comes to selling homes and to selling property, that's a little bit trickier at times. Homes are an asset, they're a commodity, they're an investment, they're a liability, and all those kinds of things, right? And they're high cost, right? Very rarely does somebody call a realtor up, finds a house that they like, and throws cash down on the table, right? And if they do, for some reason, even though you have the money to pay all of it off, people get nervous about that, and it's just silly, right? But it's such a thing that, everyone has had an experience with real estate, whether it's because of the house that you grew up in, or you moved a lot when you were younger, or you got married and you started having kids, and so you got a house or a condo or a townhouse or something. Everyone that is lives in a dwelling that was bought and sold by somebody. Okay, now it's funny. Here in Utah, the real estate market is really, I don't know what it is right now. It's a seller's market, right? There's high demand and prices are pretty high, and things like that. So if somebody lists a house, you have to hop on it pretty quick to have a chance. Like where we're at, we didn't buy this house. We are renting, and even that process of just finding a place for us to live was hard. I think the only reason outside of divine providence, of course, is that we're here is we were the first ones to see it, and we acted and decided. Oh my gosh, I apologize. But we acted and decided immediately to get to work, to move, or to make an offer, to move in or fill out an application, that kind of thing. And it was funny, we came on a Sunday and we signed the papers on Wednesday the same week. It was super fast. So some people are like, I don't need to, why should I bother? Like, people are wanting to buy houses. I can throw one up on the MLS or whatever, and I have an offer in an hour or two, right? And that is true in some markets, in some places at some times. There are hot markets where you have to put little effort into it. But if you want a career that's built and stable, and you have a client base that will refer you over and over, because how many times, you take out your little ads in home shows and put little flyers out and junk mail type of things. But the majority of your business and your new clientele comes from referrals, right? From serving the people serving other people, either in the buying or the selling of their homes. And it's so funny. Everyone knows a realtor. I know quite a few, and there are some that I will happily give referrals, and there are some who I'll accidentally forget their name, right? And it's just one of those things. Now, telling a story to sell a house. What is that? Is anybody on live? No. The challenge that you have is not being so short-sighted that the listing could get picked up immediately. So why put a lot of work into something that might go super fast, right? But again, you're wanting to build a strong client base that will refer you and send you all of their friends and family members when they know that they have a need for a realtor. So Yeah. I don't know if it's just because it's dark outside or what. Um, so, I want to show you how storytelling can help you get more listings. Okay? And then I'm going to go through 4 different types of stories that you can tell as a realtor or an agent or any of that kind of stuff to get more listings, to get more referrals, to establish yourself as a figurehead, as an authority, and to help the homes that you do list sell quicker, at higher dollar amounts even, and that kind of stuff. And I'll show you an example of one of these types of stories. So, storytelling helps you get more listings. Now, Nick, what do you mean by storytelling gets you more listings, and how do I even go about storytelling? Now, I'm not saying like back in my day or, that kind of storytelling. You need to be intentional with your storytelling in your business, right? What does you want your audience to feel, think, or do by hearing your story? And when you identify those 3 things, that helps you find the story. Now, if you're wanting to get more leads, you want people to refer you, you want people to sign up for your list, whatever tools you are using to build your list and your client base, you need to think of the stories that will lead them on that journey. Now, as a realtor, what are you expected? What are the types of questions you get asked all the time by potential home buyers? You get asked, how are the schools? Like if you're in Utah, people are like, how's the ward, the LDS congregation in the neighborhood? How are the schools? How are the neighbors? What's the crime like? Where are the best places to eat in town? What are some cool things to do around here? You get asked more than just like, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what's the square footage, what year was it born, what year was it built, right? You get asked lots and lots of questions about not only the property that's being for sale, but everything else that surrounds it. And sometimes for several miles around the property, you'll have questions that you need to know the answers to, right? Now, if you are just sitting there like, what's the school like, or what school would they go like, or what are the school systems like here? And you're just like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but you can go check it out over here. Okay, where's the closest movie theater? I don't know, but you can Google that. They're not going to be, either they're going to dump you and fire you and go to somebody else, like a Phil Dunphy from Modern Family, or they're just going to go through the motions because you're just going through the motions. You might get the sale, you might not, but they're not going to think about you. You're going to be forgotten, right? When you know that information, when you're talking to them and walking them through the property, you need to know that, right? To be a good realtor. If you don't understand that concept, then you're in the wrong business. You must repent, right? But how can you tell stories to people before you have them in the door at an open house or at a showing or things like that? You can create these different kinds of stories to build up things. So I'm just looking at my notes here, obviously. Featuring communities is a first way to be able to start your storytelling with your real estate business. Now, this is stuff that you put, whether it's on your website or your Facebook page or on Instagram. You need to be putting these types of stories into your social media. And you're going to have to do some homework and you're going to have to do some study, right? A lot of times you kind of have your wheelhouse of types of homes or people that you sell. Like somebody that's selling, like $100,000 starter homes. Is that even like, now it's like $200,000 for a starter home, but like starter homes isn't going to sell thousands of starter homes and then sell, a $10 million mansion. You kind of find your niche within the real estate industry, right? And so when you feature communities in your social media posts and things like that, the communities that you're spending a lot of your time in. You know where the schools are, where the parks are, these kinds of things. New restaurants that come into town. Like, you should be paying attention to those things happening in the communities. Like, if the park gets, one of the parks gets an upgrade or a renovation, or a new restaurant opens up, and all that kind of stuff. You should be actively participating in these things, in these events, so that you can put those stories out there. Because you know that listings are going to come. Because the people who live in those communities will see those posts, and the people can see that you know how to do this internet marketing kind of stuff, because you're actively participating and doing stuff, instead of like, hey, if you ever need someone to sell your house for you, just make sure to give me a call, okay? Like, that's not marketing. That's laziness. Yeah. So people in the community can see your posts, your tagging and stuff in Instagram, the city and the area that it's in, so those people can see it, right? And you're using all of those things strategically to reach the people who live in those communities, because chances are there's more than one person that's looking to sell their home in any neighborhood, any city, anywhere across America, across the world, at any given time. And when you tell the stories of the communities and showcase them and show that you have pride in the area and that you see the growth and the things that are happening, two things happen. Again, it shows that you know how to get your message out there. But the people who see it, who are looking to sell, will see, hey, this person can tell a good story, and like is showcasing something really nice about the area that we're living in and we're getting ready to sell. Maybe they can help us get people to want to buy our house. Okay, so that's what happens when you start telling your stories. Like, seriously, if you're not telling stories about the communities, then it's a lost opportunity, and it's something that you should be doing. You shouldn't just be sitting in your office or at home twiddling your thumbs in between listing appointments and tours, right? Yeah, I know there's a lot of homework that you're doing. You're putting together lists for people. They're like, these are my price ranges. This is what we want. And you're doing all this research. You need to be looking at the communities. And in your research, the cool things that you see, be like, oh man, this Daybreak community is one of the ones that's a big one in Utah. Like, they have lots of cool things. They have, lots of green space, and they have a lake and the swimming pools, and, all these kinds of things. Like, you share those details in your regular day-to-day marketing activities, and good things will happen. And then also sharing personal stories, whether that's with the communities or just your personal stories. Now, this is the thing that trips up so many people when it comes to their stories. They think that by sharing a personal story that they have to share everything that's happened in their life, or they're afraid to share certain parts of it for whatever reason, right? Everyone has their reasons. You don't have to share your entire travelogue life story of all the things that you've gone through. If you are out doing showings, take a selfie at the house. And that kind of thing. You're with some clients and you just help them close a deal. Just snap a little picture or something, or a video, and have them tell stories. Show you and your kids going out and putting up signs in yards, or just like even normal stuff of you going to a school play and all those kinds of things. And talk about your school, and you tie that into how living in a great neighborhood, it makes all the difference, right? You see the ways that you can tell personal stories in order to also build up the communities, show a personal side of you that people will connect to. Because when you're helping somebody with an investment, a purchase that is, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in some cases, right? They need to feel a connection to you. And if your cold, sleek, clean corporate stuff is all you post, they'll get to know you if they book appointments and start working with you, yes. But wouldn't you like to have that connection before they're qualified and excited to work with you, because they've seen some more of what you're all about and what your thing is? As you do that, people will, start to resonate with you. You'll have authority and trust, and they will open up to you and you'll be able to serve them best. Okay. Shannon Fuller, what's up? John Wilson, what's up? Thanks for hopping on. So I want to go through 4 different types of stories that you could use for real estate. And again, if you're not in real estate, this is what you need to think of with your types of business, okay, and your approach. So the 4 types of stories are listing stories, personal stories, brand stories, and community stories. So if you think of that in all aspects of any type of business, listing stories, that's the product, right? The listing is the house, the property. So those are your product stories. Personal stories are your little insights and behind the scenes looks into who you are and where you come from and what you're all about, right? Then there's brand stories, which is building up your brand, your message, your company's profile. And then community stories is stuff that builds community, right? So when it comes to a listing story, yesterday we went through MIG soap and we listened to, I read to you a bunch of different stories that described products like this headache balm or this sleep balm, right? So when it comes to a home, every home has a story. Some of it might have historical value. Some of it is just, you use creative writing to describe the features of the home. You list the top 3 things about the house. If it's got an amazing floor plan, has a private swimming pool and a movie theater, let's say, or, those are the things that you highlight. And not only say, it has a swimming pool and a movie theater and a wide open spacious floor plan. No, talk about what that means to the family or the people who are living there. You should get that, talk to them about what it's like to have and live and be in those places and what it means to them, right? And you share that, if you're selling it and they're hoping like a family buys it, cater the message towards a family. The open spaces are perfect for, impromptu games of tag or races around the kitchen counter. All those things that happen in our homes, you tell those stories as opposed to this room is 1,200 square feet. Blah, blah, no, you can drip those little details into it. But when you talk about the features and what it does and what that means to the people who are looking for it, that is where the magic happens, right? Just be like, travel to a galaxy far, far away in your very own indoor surround sound movie theater. You see how putting little things like that in the description of the home, of the best features, gets people like, ooh, cool, right? So that's like a listing story. Next are personal stories. And again, we touched on that. That is the stuff that shows you behind the scenes, shows you, going to networking meetings or trade shows or, the stuff that isn't being all spiffed up, meeting the person outside of the house and walking them in and talking them through it. It's the stuff that helps them connect to you as a person. If you're a real estate agent, but you love Star Wars, incorporate some of those things into the things. Let people know that. If you love baseball or movies or soccer or whatever, you need to share that part of your life to get people to resonate with you. And again, you don't have to share anything else. You can share some basic interests that just build some rapport. Talk about, why you love real estate or, that kind of stuff. And it just takes things to the next level. Now, brand stories is the next one. Brand stories are the things that you tell that are deliberate and have the purpose of getting people to connect with your brand, with your business, for you to become synonymous with the thing, in this example, real estate. When you think of real estate, what are some real estate companies that come to mind? Anybody want to drop a comment as to some of them? There's Century 21, there's Keller Williams, there's Berkshire Hathaway. There are these different types of companies that have become synonymous with, telling or with selling homes, right? So brand stories are built to make your company's name and what you do come together. Like Lance, he just hopped on. Lance just hopped on. Sorry, I saw comments popping up, so I was looking. Lance just does plumbing, so he wants Aspen Mountain Plumbing to be one of those names when people think I need a plumber, right? You think of that kind of stuff, and so the types of stories you tell for a brand are going to be different than your personal stories and your listing stories, right? Listing stories, if you guys are just hopping on, I'm overviewing 4 different types of stories that realtors can tell to increase the value of homes, to sell things quicker. But these principles are broken down for any type of business. So listing stories is obviously about the house, right? So that would be like your product or your service stories, talking about what you do or the thing that you sell. But telling it in a story, like yesterday, I showed examples from Mig Soap. Then there's personal stories, behind the scenes things to help you connect with the audience. And then brand stories is what we're talking about right now, which are things like about why did I get into real estate? Why was plumbing my thing? Sorry, I'm looking. Yes, Cheryl Ann. That's cool. And these principles, again, this video is directed towards realtors, but it fits all sorts of any type of business, right? So brand stories, again, is where you go and talk about your connection to why you do what you do. This is where you talk about, I remember the first house that I sold, or why I wanted to get my real estate agent license, why I love going around every day with couples and families and showing them the homes, the satisfaction that I get by seeing the smiles on their faces as they get the keys to their new house, and I know that they're going to be there and have many years of amazing memories. I love the feeling, and talking about why you love helping people be able to sell their home because they're moving across country to pursue a new job, or to be able to help people do all these things. That is the brand stories, where you get into the why of what you're doing. And it's also a point for you, or a place for you to have, for them to tell testimonial stories of the people that you serve, where they can talk about their experience with you, how helpful you were, how things were before you versus after working with you, and all that kind of stuff. Those are the brand stories. And realtors are okay at doing that, but they struggle with it for the most part. Through all of these, there are very few that I know personally that do any of this type of storytelling with their real estate business, because they just get into that mode of it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market. Whoever's market it is, I have work to do, so I don't have to put so much effort into it, because people are going to buy something really quick anyway because the demand is low or is high, or things are going to sell really fast. It's there are always the markets that they're going into. By doing these things, you will get more listings, more contracts, and sell things even faster. Okay. Now, the last type of story that I want to talk about is community stories. Okay. Community stories are the stories that feature and talk about the neighborhood, the parks, all the stuff surrounding. And these can be super impactful, because you might have a nice looking house on a nice looking street, but a couple of blocks over might be a completely different story. And people don't necessarily know that when they're looking for houses, and they don't see those kinds of things. And when you're working in neighborhoods and communities that you're wanting to sell in, you want to make them look as good as possible. So telling community stories is a great way to do that. One, it shows people who are looking to sell that you are involved in the community, that you can tell stories and you take pride in the area, so that they'll be like, when it comes time to sell or we're getting ready to sell, then Jim, he's been posting a lot. Like he understands our community. Let's work with him. But then also for the people who are looking and buying, it shows that you understand and you know the community that they're coming into. That you can answer the questions to direct them where to go, what the types of what the schools are like, what the neighborhood is like, where the best restaurants are, right? You will know those things and it will increase your value in their eyes and they will become a satisfied client. And when it comes time for them to buy again or sell, they're going to make you their first call, right? So, Nate knows all about this stuff. Oh, Nate, you the man. Thanks for hopping on. So, I have an example of a community story. So again, like I talked about these 4 types of stories: listing stories, personal stories, brand stories, and community stories. There are not very many people telling stories. There are people creating videos of listings, but it's just like music with panning shots of the rooms, right? It's pretty cut and dry. You just look at the house and then you go and look at it in person and make sure that it matches, right? If you could, in those listing stories, be able to, in the descriptions, talk about the features in a way that cause an emotional reaction in the people. Like I used the example of a movie theater, a home theater that's installed or something like that. Instead of being like, this home has a big theater with 2 tiers, 4 chairs, right? You just like talk about how you and your family could go travel to any place in the universe in your own private, super plush, in-home movie theater, blah, 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 right? Like you wrap those things up into an experience. And people fall in love with it. So those don't happen very often. I was looking for a couple hours today for examples, and I couldn't find a single one. So people are getting lazy with it. Realtors and agents, they're okay at telling their personal stories and doing Instagram posts or things like that, but so many of them just think that putting their name with a picture and a phone number in a mailer is going to get them lots of business. No, it's not. And as you open up and tell yourself, talk about yourself and help build connections and foster that, good things happen. And then the brand stories, the why I got into this business. There are some that do this to an extent, but I was looking and like all of them are like 15 or 20 minutes long, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as a marketing piece, a stranger's not going to sit through a 15-minute or a 20-minute long video about you and why you're doing your thing. You need to break that down into bite-sized pieces, and then you can trickle those out into different areas and to be able to connect with them, have a post a day or have a little series where they come out over the space of a week and all that kind of stuff. And then afterwards you could like launch the big old one if you wanted. But people are going to get to know you in small pieces. So don't tell your whole travelogue life story in one super long video because people are not going to watch all of it. Okay? And then the last one is community stories. And I found one good one that actually told a story that talked about the features of the area, the historical thing. Like it's just cool, and we'll show it. It's a little bit. It's 6 minutes long, so that's even too long for it. But we'll watch it. So let's start this and just look, watch this, and then the comments. I want you to drop and talk about the things that you are noticing that increase its value in the eye of the people who are looking at this community, and how you can see it can help drive prices higher, increase the actual value of the things, and also makes it something that's desirable to people so that there's some scarcity and demand for it. Okay, so this is the video, and drop your comments as you see them, and then we'll talk about it after. Okay, here we go.
Come discover the ancient land of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Livable mountains, mountains some claim to be the oldest on Earth. A unique land, rich with history, tradition, and folklore, where outdoor adventure lives year-round. This is Blowing Rock in the high country of North Carolina. Here, you can feel and smell the crisp mountain breeze as it moves across the land. You hear the soothing sound of flowing water. Fresh, pure mountain spring water brings life to everything up here. Welcome to Sweetgrass, Blowing Rock's premier gated community of creekside and lakeside homes. This cool 3,500-foot mountain plateau of rolling meadows, trout streams, and hardwood forest is a special place. The wide open spaces of Sweetgrass impact you immediately. No steep, narrow roads, no cliffhanger home sites. This gentle rolling topography of Sweetgrass makes building and getting around easy. Homes and amenities here are designed to complement their natural surroundings, incorporating native materials to create a community in harmony with the land. For eons, water flowing from the eastern slopes of Grandfather Mountain formed the headwaters of Boone Fork Creek. Today, Sweetgrass resident anglers own and enjoy nearly a mile of private frontage on Boone Fork Creek, which empties its bounty into beautiful Sweetgrass Lake. At Sweetgrass, neighbors, family, and friends gathered together at the lake house. This rustic mountain lake lodge is the perfect community gathering center, an ideal spot for hosting reunions or the casual weekend get-together. Outside, there's an expansive patio, stone fire pit, sandy beach, fishing docks, and canoes, where the whole family will be together in an idyllic natural setting. The Sweetgrass Lake House boasts a gourmet kitchen, game room, fitness center, and a Wi-Fi connection for your convenience. For those with more discriminating taste, you're just down the road from Main Street in North Carolina's best small town, Blowing Rock, where you'll enjoy an abundance of dining and shopping opportunities. Plenty to do for the whole family. There's the world-renowned West Glow Spa, the Cone Manor, Julian Price Lake and Memorial Park, the Shops of Main Street, the Blowing Rock Equestrian Preserve, and of course the Blue Ridge Parkway, all within a few miles of Sweetgrass. Neighboring towns of Boone, Banner Elk, and Linville offer easy day trip activities like Tweetsie Railroad, Grandfather Mountain Park, Linville Gorge and Caverns, Appalachian State University, and so much more. Sweetgrass is a four-season mecca for all outdoor enthusiasts. Play is full-time up here. Explore the Blue Ridge Parkway, hiking trails, rivers, caverns, ski resorts, and mountains that make the high country one of America's most sought-after addresses. Hike any of the private trails in Sweetgrass, or to really stretch your legs, hike on our neighboring trail systems to the peak of Grandfather Mountain, lazily around Julian Price Lake, or maybe the 25 miles of carriage trails in Cone Memorial Park. Combined, these parks offer over 40 miles of trails and comprise the largest developed area set aside for public recreation on the Blue Ridge Parkway. The high country is North Carolina's winter playground. allowing year-round play for you and your family. Homeowners here realize Sweetgrass evokes a feeling of peace and serenity, which come when you know you've found the right place. Searching for your unique lifestyle in the Blue Ridge Mountains? Discover Sweetgrass. You'll be glad you did. Make plans to tour Sweetgrass today. All new buyer incentives are propelling property sales at a record pace this year. Visit our website or call us to learn more.
All right. Aaron liked that. His comment was like, geez, if they never get any snow, I'll move as soon as I hit the 2 Common Club. Right? Do you see the journey that brings us, the viewers, on? How, like, maybe it's because it's North Carolina and things are moved slower in the South or something. That was 6 minutes long. I would have tightened that up a little bit more. But again, there was a lot of information. It was good community story. It took a whole minute. The whole first minute wasn't like, hey, buy a house and build a house here. And then they go into some stuff. The whole first minute was about the Blue Ridge Mountains and how historic it is and how they're even like the oldest mountains on the earth, all of these things about the area. And then they talked about the community and the features and how all the amenities and the construction is meant to fit the surroundings. And so meaning that you're not going to have like some bright neon pink house, modern crazy construction in the middle of this gorgeous, wilderness and stuff. And then how it's easy to access and you're not all on top of each other. Your house isn't going to be hanging off of the edge of a cliff. The roads aren't steep and all this kind of stuff. Just talking about how you'll have space and comfort and everything. And then you have a whole mile of prime fishing river that empties into a lake on the property that has a lake house, a community lake house where you can get everyone together. But if that's not enough for you, then look at what's going around in the town around us, right? And then there are all these amazing things you could do that are so close by. Do you see how that makes that place a destination that you would want to go to? As opposed to like, it's a gated community with, rustic house, new house construction. There's a community lake and clubhouse. And, there's some shopping nearby. Like, do you see the difference between it? Do you see how that brings up the value? And I don't know what these are selling for. I don't know. I don't remember how or how old that video is. But do you see the 2 different journeys they could have taken you on? This place is nice, and it's in North Carolina, and it's kind of close to the Blue Ridge Mountains, but you can build your house and blah, blah, blah. Like, they took you on the journey so people will fall in love with the destination and where they're going. And people like Aaron, heck, I would love to have a house there, right? Are running like, ooh, I want to. And then at the end, they do a little bit of scarcity. Some of these incentives we're having like the biggest sales ever. So they throw a little bit of that marketing juice in there at the end too. But you see the difference that this takes you on. When you are in real estate, when you're in any type of business, but today we're talking about real estate. If you want to make more money, you want to increase the value of the homes or the communities that you're selling in to raise property values, you want to get more listings, and you want to get things under contract faster, wrap it in a story. Listing stories, personal stories, brand stories, community stories. You need to be actively doing those things all the time. Regardless if you have 20 showings in a day or 0 or whatever, you need to be publishing and putting these things out there. When you do, you will make more money with your business. Okay? Nate knows this. Like Nate is a real estate developer, and he does lots of amazing stuff outside of that as well. But like he knows the value of when he's building and developing a community, to be able to make it a place that people want to go, not just, hey, your price range is in this range, and so I have these 12 houses we're going to go look at. Right? It's one of those things like somebody says, ooh, this is our price range, this is what we're looking at. And they're like, Nate Piper's community has this. That's the top of the list, and that's where we're going, and this is why. And then they get the people all excited, right? It's that type of journey that you want people to go on, especially when they're going to be spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on something that they're going to live in with their families or by themselves or whatever. But memories and things are going to be the thing that comes from that. Not just putting a roof over the head. Anyone can do that, right? Anyone can find somewhere for shelter. They want a place to live. And by wrapping it up in a story, when you deliver it to them, to new people, or when you take somebody who's moving from their house and show the care and honor the memories and everything that they had when they lived there, do you think that those people are going to not think of you the next time that they have a need, or they have a family member or a friend or a neighbor or a coworker that is looking to move, and they're like, oh, dude, I have the perfect guy. He's amazing. She's amazing. You will love them. You do that through stories, and then by giving them a good experience and taking care of them, right? Nate's chiming in. I want to, exactly. It's all about stories. Stories create feelings. And honestly, when it comes to home and where somebody's going to live, you want them to have good feelings about the place when they step into it for the first time. You want to have good the people who are leaving to have good feelings that it's going to be well taken care of and cared for because they loved it and they cherished it. And yes, it's a little extra work, but would you be willing to put in an extra hour a day to cultivate one of these types of stories and just rotate it through the week and spend 1 hour of your day doing that and putting it out there and get like 10x your listings that come to you, to get more houses under contract through you and through your brokerage or however, I don't know the ins and outs of real estate. But is it worth that investment to care about the communities, the houses, the people, and put it out there? And then they fall in love with you. They get their dream house. They feel happy. They aren't settling. All of these things because you crafted something that connected them to this piece of property, and they fell in love with it. And they will come back to you over and over, or refer to you over and over. You know, that's the other thing is like real estate is usually a long play. Somebody buys a house and they're going to be there for a little bit, right? At least a couple of years, even on the low end, on the short end, right? But they know people who are always looking. There are always people looking to move. And when you become a storytelling realtor and real estate agent, and you show that you care and value and understand and know the communities that you're serving, the people who live in it are going to notice. And the people who are going to move into it are going to notice. And it will help you increase your sales, your revenue, your bottom line. And that is why we tell stories. That is why I'm trying to show you guys that it works with any type of business. We did a soap company yesterday. We've talked about real estate today. We talked a little bit about plumbing. We're going to do a deeper dive with my buddy Lance and his plumbing company. It works. It works for exercise desk bikes, or desk exercise bikes. That was a weird way to say it, right? It works for anything, and you can do it too. So with that said, find ways to tell your stories and wrap stories into your products, yourself, your brand, and your community. And good things will happen, whether that's in real estate or if it's in anything else. You focus on those 4 areas, good things happen. Thank you guys for hopping on. Was that useful? Give me some hearts and likes and stuff like that. And again, as always, if there's a topic or something you want me to go and take a dive into, drop it in the comments. Like, I'm always looking for new things to geek out on and find stories with. Some of them are a little bit more challenging. This one was today, to be honest. It was a little more challenging to find good examples because not very many people are doing it. I guarantee that community that we watched that video, that it worked for them, and they either sold out super fast or, it's good things are happening, okay, for them. So you can do it with any type of business. And if you get stuck, that's what I'm here for. But I want you to see that you can take these things and apply them immediately to any type of business. And you'll start to see traction and results and goodness come. And when that comes, I want you to share it with me because I want to celebrate your victories with you as well. So, with that said, have an amazing day. The thunder has subsided, but it's raining pretty good outside. I'm going to, the kids just got home from school, so I'm going to go say hey and then get back to work. Have an amazing day. Remember, telling your stories is the way to increase your sales revenue and engagement. It just takes one story.